explain to you or show you, introduce you to some really amazing people that are just like you, but that have taken the plunge, right? So they've taken the opportunity that showed up in front of them, or maybe followed something that they were really passionate about. And so we're really now just sharing their stories, right? I mean, I started doing this before the whole virus thing started because I really felt that it was important. There's people out there that are struggling with their business, or maybe they want to start a business, but they don't know how. And so I just have a lot of connections, and I thought it would be really cool to share stories from people just like you that decided to take that leap, right? So today I have an amazing friend, colleague, just a very impressive entrepreneur that I want to share with you guys. That this lady has so much energy. She has the ability to pivot around that you just can't even imagine. And I just can't wait for you guys to hear all about it. So good morning, Sandi. This is
Good
Sandi.
morning. Good morning, Connie. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm well. I'm doing well. Hanging in
Awesome.
there.
Awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time today. I know you got a hectic schedule because you've got somebody at home too, and you guys have a really busy schedule, but thank you for your time.
Sure, sure.
So guys, I want Sandi to share her story with you first and tell you about her business and tell you how she started. But before that, just tell us a little bit about Sandi. Who are you? How did you get to where you are? What is your business? And what are you doing now?
Okay. Well, I am Sandi Foraci. I live in La Plata, Maryland, Southern Maryland. I'm married 20 some years. I have a 16-year-old who's keeping me busy. Currently, my nephew from Italy is here with us because he was away at school and he couldn't get back into his country because Italy was shut down. So he's with us now, and I got an amazing dog, Charlie, that keeps me active, and a fickle cat, Jasper. But so I am a professional photographer in the area and have been for about, I guess, 22, 23 years, something like that. I started out as an art teacher. I went to school for art. And because my dad basically said, you need something to fall back on. And I ended up teaching middle school at Mattawoman for a couple years. And then I taught over at Westlake High School in the art department. And they gave me a photography class. Well, I, at the time, did not know anything about photography because it's the one class in college that I was not interested in. I thought it was too quick, wasn't creative enough. So I had to go back to school the year that I started teaching so I would be smarter than the kids. By the time I finished teaching at Westlake, which was only just a few years, I went from one photography class to 5 classes. So I kind of fell in love with it. My students fell in love with it. And it was darkroom photography at the time. By the time I left, we were doing some digital photography. But I left teaching because a couple friends across the hall, Mr. Ball and Miss Ball, you guys may know them, Lauren and Jimmy, they're still over at North Point. They asked me to do their wedding. And I'm like, no, because what if I mess up? And they're like, it's just going to be in our backyard. We'll pay you whatever you want to. Well, then I had to figure out my equipment and make sure I didn't mess up. And I fell in love with it. And at the time, I had I was either pregnant or my daughter was just born, and I started thinking in my mind, how could I do this as a living and stay home with my daughter and not miss all this stuff? So I slowly transitioned from being a teacher to having my own business, which was back in 1998. And at the time, I was shooting basically weddings, and I did, bridal shows. The good thing about weddings is you know what your income is going to be like 6 months to a year in advance because that's how far brides will book
Mhm.
you. So I did the wedding shows. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that, I followed a couple friends who did shows. I went and looked at their booths. I figured out how do I want to sell myself? Originally, I was a traditional photographer and I had lots of props and was staging stuff. And that got really boring to me really quickly because all my weddings were not the same at all. So I started following a photojournalist from the Baltimore Sun. I'm one of those people that, like, if I have an idea, I just jump in and figure it out and do it without thinking because I don't want the thought to pass because then I might get scared and not do it. So basically, I connected with the Baltimore Sun. I followed a photojournalist around, and when when a photojournalist documents a story, they can't stop the person walking in the courtroom and say, pretend like you're doing this. You have to capture the moment as it happens before it changes. So that's the style of photography I adapted that I wanted to do for my weddings, and it's become more and more popular. So I started shooting weddings and basically booked my years because of bridal shows and just marketing myself. And My husband was always a big fan, telling me, you got to raise your prices. You got to do this. I remember he was literally pasting new prices on my marketing cards with me the night before a bridal show because he thought I could get, more. And so he helped me with my confidence. I shot weddings for, gosh, probably 15, 20 years. It was 90% of my business until recently. Real estate has been big in the market, and agents know the value of having a professional photographer. So probably for the past 4 or 5 years, I've linked arms with some really successful agents in the area, at a perfect time, because the older I get, the younger my competition gets. So everybody's got digital cameras now. Everybody's shooting weddings now. So now I'm able to supplement. When I don't shoot a wedding, I shoot real estate for agents. So, and that keeps me really busy during the week. So, I basically taught myself my photography equipment, and I, just kind of trial and error, how to do it, how not to do it. And I marketed myself the way I wanted to, created a Facebook, not a Facebook page, but a website, and have been going strong ever since.
That is just amazing. So I got so many nuggets when you were talking that I just wanted to talk about and share a little bit more. While we're talking, we have Michelle Camione's on, and she is just like, Sandi's amazing. Love Sandi.
I love Michelle. I work with Michelle, one of the agents I was talking about.
Yep. Michelle, we had Michelle on an interview series a couple weeks ago. So Michelle's a very hardworking, busy agent. So good one to have as one of your agents. So let's go back and talk about a couple of things. So one of the things that we talk about when I talk to entrepreneurs is their support system, right? And so especially people when they first start out, and even if you're not starting out, but you're long into it, you're talking about your husband and how he was just always there, and giving you that strong force of, I'm here to help you. Here's my thoughts. Being able to bounce things off. Talk to us a little bit more about that, because I think, it's not necessarily your spouse, but somebody in your circle, be that for that other ear of reason, or that makes you think a little bit bigger, makes you think in different directions. Talk about that a little bit, but how important that is to your business.
Sure. Well, it was a huge deal for my husband to support me, because we were newly married. We were both teachers. We both had exactly the same schedule. So we went to school at the same time, came home the same time. We had weekends free together. So for me to say I want to quit teaching, it's a little unnerving for him, because he's like, are you going to have income? You're going to have to be on my insurance. And my schedule was completely flip-flop. So now, where he was off during the weekend, I was working every weekend, because I was taking jobs, and that's when wedding photographers work. And I was home every day, which was good, because I could take care of the dog or whatever and take care of the house. But when he would be off, I'd be working. So that was a strain. That was a strain at first, and I didn't realize it. I just told him, this is my dream. This is something I want to do, and he was all in. He's just, but so over time, I had to learn to manage my schedule, so that when he came home from work, I'm off the computer. Like, I'm not editing anymore. I have to make sure that there's family time, and because I tend to be a workaholic. I get that from my dad, and I think that's where it's when you're a creative soul. Like, I love what I do, because I feel like it was a gift that God gave me, and so I love being creative and doing those things. And so I tend to measure I at one point tended to measure my self-worth with how much work I can get done, and how busy I am. And I really had to learn balance, especially anybody who works from home knows that you have to put it away. You know what I mean? Because you'll get sucked in. So anyway, I did learn, and I took weekends off. We had some arguments about it, and we had some long talks about it. And, I learned that he doesn't like going to functions and saying, my wife's working again. My wife's working again. So I made sure that, we planned, when I booked a wedding, we talked about it. Anything going on this weekend? Do we want to plan a vacation? Do we want to do anything? So that was a transition for me to learn, and just kind of a time where I had to appreciate him. So, and then of course,
I think it's awesome that you shared that very deep feelings. Like, we had some struggles. Yeah, we thought about it sometimes. Yeah, that was an acknowledgement I had to make this kind of adjustment, because that's really important. And I appreciate you sharing that. I know that's really personal, but it's really, I think it's really important for people to understand that, especially in today's world of social media, where, all you see is everybody's roses and sunshine and skinny body, and that they eat everything properly. And
that's the highlight reel, right?
It's totally
We never know what's going on behind the scenes.
That's right. That's right. So I appreciate you sharing that because that's very genuine and it's very important. I mean, having your support system, whatever it is, being a good listener to whatever that support system is, because, we, a lot of times entrepreneurs have that same way of being as you is, let's just jump in. We're going to, we found this is what we really want to do, but is this really supporting our family, which is the most important thing, and the people surrounding us that really care about us. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah. And when I let him into my business, like I'm great at being creative, but I'm not very good at the business end of it, the money end of it. And he's really smart with that. So when I let him in, gosh, I was like, where have you been all my life? Because he just had a lot of good input and a lot of things for me to consider. So whenever I make large decisions, like we definitely talk about it now. So
that's fantastic. And you're certainly not in the minority. I mean, we've talked to so many entrepreneurs that said their spouses, but I want you guys to understand, even if you don't have a spouse, you have to have some people in your sphere that you can bounce things off of, that you can have these conversations, the tough ones, about how you're going to do some of these things. So you mentioned something else. Well, let's talk first about that. You just jump in and you just do it. Because I think this is kind of interesting. Like in the entrepreneurial world, you end up with several different types of people and personalities. But most often you see people that are less of the, let me plan it all out and get the business plan, and more of the, oh my gosh, this hit me right in the face and I saw it and I just run with it. And so I loved how you told your story about how you took that one photography class and then you just saw it. So talk to us a little bit about that and how you felt like, that change and why you decided to take advantage.
Well, I actually, you say having other people, it didn't just happen like on my own. I actually was doing a project with my students in class, and I was trying to teach them that the project was about how you could have photography as a career and actually make money at it. So they were assigned to pick a career in photography and find somebody who actually held an income doing that business. And if they could bring the person in, they would bring them in, and so anything from like a historian to like a portrait photographer. Somebody brought in a wedding photographer, and her and I became very good friends. So this is a speaker in my class before I even knew I was going to do this, and she started talking to me about her business and the way she did things, and we just became really good friends. So I think anybody who has an idea about creating a business, starting a business, trying something new that they've kind of had like on their gut, you got to do some research first. I connected with people in the field. It wasn't like I said, I'm going to do this. I will tell you, I made some big mistakes. Like when I first started my business, I thought I had to have all the equipment right now. So I was like $15,000 in debt in equipment when I started my business. And it was on a credit card. I'm like, I have to have this camera. I have to have this lens. And I didn't need all that. So looking back, like if anybody wants to start their business as a photographer, a real estate photographer, a portrait, whatever it is, you don't have to have everything right now. Get what you need to get the job done. And as you make money, then invest in the new. But so I had a lot of people that, kind of influenced me. But I did. I went out there. I worked for some people first before I did things on my own because I didn't know what I was supposed to charge. I didn't know what it was like to shoot a wedding. So I was a second shooter for a while. And it was scary the day that I told the principal that I'm going to be working at home. Let me just tell you, I had a year's worth of weddings booked first. Like but I was doing two jobs. So sometimes, and even now as a photographer, people who see me on Facebook know me that I'm very passionate about health and wellness, and I still do sell Plexus, which is a supplement company. So I supplement my income on times where the season's not good. So I don't think you can go in like blindly. I think you need to do your research. I think you need to connect with people who are already in the field. I don't think you need to copy somebody, but compare and contrast and see what works for you and how you want to market yourself. I tell this to people all the time. My one of my trainers at the gym wanted to build her photography career because she had a baby. And so she started shooting real estate. She eventually moved to a different state, but she worked with me for a while. And I said, this is what you need to do. And then create a Facebook page or website. And you decide what kind of photography you want to do and then market yourself. And those people will come to you. Don't do some, anyways. So it was unnerving at first, the first year that I started my business. And, but it was also really exciting. So
that's great. It's interesting. You, as we have discussion, you bring up things that are just, there's this common thread through entrepreneurs, people who have decided to take the leap into trying something that they really wanted to do. I mean, a lot of people do feel like we've got to have everything perfect. So you got to get it all done and get it all set up. And I love that explanation or that description that you gave. Get in there and start doing what you're doing. Talk to people. And when you're saying about talking to people, one of the things you bring up, I think, is so cool is a lot of people talk about having mentors and, people that you trust, that you can ask questions to, that you're not afraid. And I think a lot of people are afraid to ask other people for help. So not only did you ask other people for help, but you also mentored people as well, which I think is amazing. I just love these stories.
And I did get shut down. I contacted some photographers that were well known in the area that didn't want to give their secrets away, and so you learn quickly, like, where to tap in and where not to tap in. And I guess what I did, somebody taught me. So I got to help. I have to pay it forward. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I love that honesty too, because we've been talking about mentors and not being afraid to ask people for help. Because most people are like you and I, hey, let's, how can I help you? Let me show you, because nobody's going to do this exactly the same. So no matter what you show them, they're going to do their own take on something, number one. But I do appreciate that you shared that not everybody was willing to help either, because that's very true in every
real
industry.
life. Yeah, it's real life. So expect for someone to tell you no. Expect for someone to say you're crazy. Why would you do that? You know what I mean? And so
So why would you do that? If somebody tells you you're crazy when you wanted to start your photography business, and somebody said, why are you going to do that? There's already a million photographers out there.
Oh, because I wanted to prove them wrong in a sense, like, but I also, it's okay. Like, you don't have to, there's a handful of people, right, that are really close that, that their opinions really matter to you. Yeah. And if one of those people that were really close to me, 2 or 3 of them at the same time said, I don't think that's a good idea, then probably I would have thought differently. But everyone around that was close to me was supporting me. And the other people, I don't know, maybe they're afraid for me. Maybe they don't, I don't know. But you can't let everybody's opinions affect you.
Very good advice. So if you had to pick so this is kind of a loaded question, because when I ask people this, I think there's 2 pieces to it. But if you had to pick what I like to call superpower is, so what do you like? It makes you totally different than everybody else that you're really good at. That's number one. But the other side of it is, what is the thing about doing your business that makes all the hair on your arms stand up and just makes you feel like, this is fantastic. So tell us those 2 things.
So I see differently. I truly believe that I see differently than some people. And so when I'm shooting a wedding, like I'm anticipating the moment, and I can see the emotion evolving, and then I capture the moment before it changes. When I am in a house, like, I'll walk through the house, I'll check out the room, I'll get down really low, I'll get to, try a different angle, and I'm looking for something. And I think that's just my creative brain, because in this field, I have a lot of competition, and there's plenty of room for all of us. But what I've learned is there are people who just pick up a digital camera and say, I can do this. And then there's people who have a vision. And I've worked with a lot of really great people who have visions. And so I know that's what sets me apart, because 2 things set me apart: the way I see things creatively, visually, and my work ethic. I always want to give as much as I can give, and I put myself in the shoes of the person I'm working for. Whether I'm shooting a wedding and I'm praying on the way, because I always get butterflies, I'm like, dear God, please help me see everything I'm supposed to see and capture this wedding for these people in the best way that I can do. When I'm shooting a house, how can I showcase this house so that the agent's going to sell it quick? And so one of my favorite things about my job that makes my hair stand on my arms or whatever is that when I get to see my work back, because it's like opening a Christmas present, because you shoot it, but I'm not like looking at my camera the whole time. So I bring it home, I open it on the camera, and I'm like, yes, I got it. But the other thing is to see the satisfaction in the clients that I work for, to hear them say, oh my God, it's like reliving my wedding, looking through your pictures again, or, oh my gosh, that house looks amazing, I sold it in 3 days thanks to your pictures. That is like satisfaction that nobody else can give you. So it's very rewarding. I love my job. I'm very grateful that I've been given this talent. And I say, if you can find something that you really love and you're good at and you can make money at it, do it. do it.
I love that you brought up that you still get butterflies, because after 22 years, most people can't say that. They feel, maybe they go through their business. So what that speaks to, I feel like, is you really tapped into the way to do it that makes you feel alive. And I love how you captured the
Oh, you froze.
piece. Like I said, there's millions of photographers out there. Everybody has a different way of doing it, and you clearly have that vision when you walk into that room, and it's really cool. That's very exciting.
I mean, even shooting portraits. I've done your portrait several times. I shoot headshots for a lot of agents, and senior pictures I'm doing Monday from a 6-foot distance.
There
But
you
I
go.
love shooting portraits of people because I like to talk to them a little bit and find out what their character is, and then kind of photograph them and so that their character shows through in their pictures. And I love it when someone says, I hate getting my picture taken, because I'm like, you haven't been photographed by the right person yet. Let me have my way with you.
Yeah, being photographed by you is an experience for sure. I mean, you are pulling things around and moving things around and getting up high and getting down low and capturing things that you just none of the rest of us even see.
I
So
like to put
it's
people at
really
ease.
cool.
It's not supposed to hurt.
Yeah. Right. You're absolutely right. So talk to us. You touched on a couple of things that you do work in another business, just sort of supplementing things. And we've talked about this with other people before. So talk to me a little bit about that, because a lot of people say, oh my gosh, I couldn't run 2 businesses, or, there's a lot of stigma around multi-level marketing companies. So, I mean, you can go as deep or as little as you want, but I think there's some really important nuggets here to share as well, that if you wouldn't mind.
Well, sure. There was a time in my life, probably 4 or 5 years ago, when I was I was number one. Physically, I was very tired. I was approaching 45 years old, having that brain fog, just not feeling my best, tired all the time. And my husband, literally, supporting me again, was like on Facebook, and he's like, "You need to check out this like vitamin company, supplement company. My friend from high school, Amy Schwan, is doing it, and I think you'd be great at it." And I'm like, "I'm not selling anything. I'm not selling stuff to people. No." He's like, "Well, just try the vitamins and see if it makes you feel better, whatever." So it's Plexus, and it's about gut health. And so I've been on that regimen for 5 years now. And I was able to get off my antidepressants. I was able to just be able to have more energy. My anxiety level is lower because I don't, getting your gut healthy, it has a lot to do with your physical health, and it can help you with other issues in your life. So I've been on my probiotic and my magnesium supplement, and I have my vitamins that I stay on, and in addition to like just eating right and everything. But it came to me at a really good time, because when I was only shooting weddings, like I said, about 5 years ago, I was primarily shooting weddings. There's down seasons.
Yeah.
So people get married, it depends on the person, but like March to November. And then there's like December until March, where you have no income. Yeah. And so my husband's like, do a little bit of selling. So the way I decided to do it is just like if I buy a shirt at TJ Maxx and somebody loves it, I tell them where I got it. If I ate a really great meal, I tell them where I ate it or whatever. So I've started feeling so much better in taking care of my gut that I couldn't keep it quiet. So I basically was sharing my story on Facebook, and so I have a lot of clients that, I could help feel better as well. And it in turn supplement my income. And to this day, it's still giving me like, $300 paycheck a month. Now, I don't advertise it as much because my photography then has like really, with the real estate becoming more popular, it's really supplemented my income. So it makes more sense for me to focus on my real estate and, doing the 3D tours now, which is a new aspect to my photography. And I only used to do stills, but now I'm doing the virtual tours. Wow. So, focusing on that was a quicker way for me to supplement my income, but I still take the products, still sell them to people. But yeah, it's always good to have something in your back pocket. Especially if you believe in it, it makes you feel good. So.
Yeah. And that's what I like about this. And, a couple of people that we've talked to have several different streams of income, right? And so the different streams of income is part of it. And then the other side of it is because of the reason that you said, different streams of income, because all of our businesses go through cycles, right? Particularly now, everybody's trying to figure out what to do. But not only that, but what I seem to find and I hear from other people is all the ancillary things that come with that, like, the motivational training and the business side of things, running a business, some of the things that maybe you don't already know how to do that, is free when you're in this, in that kind of system. So the structure of that is very beneficial for the entrepreneurial mind from all of the pieces that I understand.
Yeah, and whether you're selling, Mary Kay or Rodin and Fields or Plexus or, whatever the product is, normally those multi-level marketing companies come with a team of people who are there to encourage you and help you step out of your comfort zone and help you like push past your fears, which, I was only kind of working for myself and doing my thing. So it really helped build my self-confidence and kind of link arm with a team full of women who helped me just to expand myself and what I was able to give and do. So.
Nice. And you carry that through everything else you do now. And it definitely helps you grow as a person, because, all of us could go to a Tony Robbins event and watch that, but pay thousands of dollars to go get that kind of energy that we need. And when, what a lot of people find is when they found a niche or, in that kind of thing, there's training in there that's helpful, that's affordable or free. And the camaraderie of other people, particularly when you work by yourself, that's really a lot to be said for that. So I just want to share that piece because, one of the things that really successful people do is have multiple streams of income, right? Things that, are just there, that just happen as you started building it, that they just continue to go. And so I think that's really important to point out, that if you're looking for those kinds of things, those are good options to have. But you're also, the idea behind those kinds of things is you're sharing something that you really like anyway. That's all there is to it. No matter, like you said, going to TJ Maxx or Costco or whatever, and you find a product that you like, that's what you do. So do me a favor, tell me a strong piece of advice you would give somebody who's thinking about going into business, period. Photography business maybe, but more importantly, just the business. They're going to do something themselves, because I think what people don't see is that there's all these other things that you got to do as the business owner. And you touched on that your husband helped you, but give us a strong piece of advice that you have after doing your own thing for more than 20 years, that maybe could help somebody else that you've discovered.
So this, I'm not sure if this is what you're asking for, but one thing I learned like the hard way was that when you're in your own business, let's say I charge like, a certain number of dollars per hour to shoot a wedding, or I shoot like a certain, amount to shoot a house. I don't make all that. I literally a small business
really?
owner,
You don't?
a small business owner. I had somebody ask me, they're like, what do you charge to shoot a house? I said, $200. They're like, what do you get for that? And I'm like, you get really great pictures of your house. Hopefully that will sell, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I only make like 30 to 40% of that the government gets. So one piece of advice I would let people know if you want to start your own business is like, if I was single, I wouldn't have my insurance. I'm married. Fortunately, my husband has great insurance with the Board of Education. So you got to consider your insurances. You have to consider the fact that, you have to set your prices right. And then when you get paid, you have to put your taxes away each paycheck. Because, like I said, I learned this the hard way, or you'll get behind. And when it's tax time and they tell you what you owe, if you don't have that, you're screwed. Yeah. So I did, that's something that, and not being a business minded person, more creative, I had to learn that. So that's important. I would also say, kind of what we've been talking about is you should, compare the market, see what's out there, link arms with as many people as you can, see what's a competitive price. Because with me, and so I'm starting a new business right now, and that is doing these virtual tours for the real estate agents. Literally, when right as pandemic was happening, and real estate agents were they were being told you can't do open houses. We're going to close down the doors of the offices. You got to get a way to sell these homes without a bunch of people going in. I had 5 agents in 1 week call me and say, "Are you doing the 3D tours? Are you doing the 3D?" This tour is like when you shop a vacation home that's out of state. And you can go and look at it, and you can literally like scroll through, and it's like you're moving through the house. So it's different equipment, different. They said, "Do you do it?" I said, "I will be by Monday."
That's right. Give me a minute. I'll figure it out.
I think you have to expect to put the work in, it's not something that's gonna just come to you. You have to put the work in. So I studied all week long. I figured out which camera to get. I looked and saw what other people were doing, and I added a piece to my business that now, and I still learning as I'm shooting. Got great customer service in the company that I'm working with Matterport Tours, and so it's just don't be afraid to keep teaching yourself and keep getting out there and learning different things. Don't be afraid of it,
I
and
love that.
expect.
Keep learning because, that's one
Yeah,
thing that people get into their business and say, okay, well, now I'm doing it. But who would have ever thought that
yeah,
this would happen? And you
no,
teaching
yeah,
yourself that will carry you for a long time because not only, even we're never going to go back to what we were doing 2 months ago. It's never going to
right,
happen. So
right,
where does that evolve? And you've taught yourself something new, but not only that, the keep learning keeps making you fresh and grow and be able to be exposed to other opportunities and other information and other business people that may have other ways of doing things. Like
yeah,
having this discussion about taxes is crucial. People just don't realize what they don't know and they just want to go off and start their business. So
right.
so as we're running a little bit end up on our time here, let me ask you one last question. If you're going to be it'll be interesting to hear your answer because your business is pretty self-explanatory. But if you got stuck in an elevator with 4 people and you guys were stuck and nobody was having a panic attack, as I'm saying it, I'm thinking, oh, I don't think I did. But anyway, everybody goes around the elevator and says, hey, what do you do for a living? People you've never met before. What do you say?
I'm a photographer. I'm a mom. I'm a photographer. I'm a wife. I'm a Christian. But I love, I film my day like capturing moments, literally capturing the history. I'm saying this all wrong. Like you caught me off guard. So one of my favorite things about being a photography is I'm basically capturing a moment in the history of someone's life. When it comes to like a wedding, like I'm marking that moment. And I'm helping the agents, do what they do best and sell their houses. And I'm doing what I love and I'm making money at it. It's like if now that my husband has his captain's license and he can take
Oh,
charters
nice.
out, he's making money doing something he loves. So I'm making money doing something I love.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And that's a great spot to wind up on. So, Sandi, if somebody wants to get in touch with you after today, they want wedding, they want headshots, they want senior photos, they want house, whatever, because you film just about anything. Do you film pets too?
I do. If you'll pay me for it, I'll shoot it.
There you go. So anybody wants to
Yeah.
get in touch with you after today, how do they find you?
Yeah. So my website is my name. So it's sandiforaci.com. SandiForaci.com. Or you can just call my cell. Can I give my cell number?
Absolutely.
Okay. 301-642-6512.
Excellent. And do me a favor, when we're done, post in the comments that information too, so then everybody knows in case somebody's got to click on it, didn't write it down or have paper ready. And guys, we are going to, I'm going to save the video. It'll be on YouTube. You can check out my YouTube, Connie Fuksa. I also will post a replay, not tomorrow, probably Monday, for this and tag Sandi so she can put it on her page and any of the other places that she might want to. And you guys tune in again next week. We have several additional entrepreneurs that we're talking to. I'm trying to find people that are in all different walks of life because, all these, I can interview 10 photographers, but the experiences are totally different. And I love being able to share these stories. So also, if I can help you in any way, I like to help people learn how to be able to tell their story on a regular basis to people so they can understand it better. So ConnieFuksa.com is that. Sandi, thank you so much for your time today. I truly appreciate you.
I love you, Connie. Thank you.
I love you too, girlfriend. All right, guys. Hope you have a fantastic day. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for tuning in to Entrepreneurial Live Interviews with Connie Fuksa.